Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you are in the world. This is Howie, and I'm here to help you win with money. Today, I want to talk about Bitcoins. I've been doing videos for about a year now, and I wanted to do a video. This will be my maybe 10th or 11th or 13th video. So it's not a lot, but I wanted to talk about something really important. I call it the 2% portfolio solution. So let's go into it. Up until this point, 1% has been the standard, and I'll show you what I mean. Over here, you see a quick article here. Paul Tudor Jones has 1 to 2% of his asset in Bitcoins. He's a professional investor, and he only keeps a small percentage of his wealth in Bitcoin. So this is a classic one. Here's another one, JP Morgan here. They recommend most investors only allocate 1% into Bitcoin. So this is becoming common theme, even in the mainstream financial world. Even if they don't follow it, even if they don't know anything about Bitcoin, a lot of them are willing to tell you to invest 1%. So now I believe it's time to move into the 2% solution. So what do I mean by that? Everyone who don't agree with it should have at least 2% of their portfolio in a high-risk asset class. And I'm not talking about anything else but Bitcoins or Ether or something like that. For those of you who may believe in it, understand a little bit, maybe been following it for a year or two, it's time to try to get your target allocation up to 5. And I don't know if anybody needs more than that, but there are definitely a lot of people who I know. Some people have 10, 15, 20, 40, 50% of the portfolio. Obviously, there's still people who do 100%, not something we recommend. If something goes to zero, 100% of the value goes to zero. In options trading, we call it blowing your account. And in Bitcoin, you don't want that to happen either. Now, no one knows if it's going to happen. Part of portfolio management and risk management is to plan for things that you may not plan for. If this thing is the longest running bubble asset, you want to make sure it's only 1 or 2 or 3% of your asset class. So this is what I'm proposing. For most people who don't believe, you should try to aim for a 2% allocation. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm moving to a 2% range. Maybe it may go up to 3 to 4% on its own, not because I'm adding a lot of money into it, but only because of the capital appreciation. When you're buying an asset that grows, and if it grows faster than all your other asset class, it becomes a bigger percentage of your portfolio. So that's what I'm talking about. So the portfolio weight will naturally change on its own. And the reason why I'm suggesting is a couple of reasons. I do think Bitcoin has a long runway ahead. The first 10 years may have been over, but I think the second decade is probably more critical than the first. And actually, that came out wrong. The first decade was super critical, but there was no mass adoption. All the big money is already made up front. This is the decade where mass adoption, use cases, practical use cases, layer 2, layer 3, and even layer 4 solutions are being added. You build upon the foundation of the blockchain, and you have different solutions that can make the Bitcoin or Ether or everything else more useful. I still want to buy coffee and not wait, more than 2.5 seconds or 4 seconds before instant confirmation saying the money is transferred. I can walk out of the store with the coffee. So they're working on a lot of these instantaneous transactions. There's a lot of other things that I think is going to happen. On top of that, I do still think Ether has a large or longer runway ahead of it. Ether is 5 years younger, and I believe it came out in 2015. But I do think in the short term, you can 10x to 50x your money in the next 10 years or so. And the reason why I say that is there's so much happening right now that the space is moving really quick. And so I want to get ahead of the game. Time to tell people, hey, the 2% solution is really the right solution. I still don't believe that you should go all in, even if you're a 100% believer in it. I'm not a big fan of that. You still want to diversify. You still want to have money in a primary house. You still want to have other asset class. But I think it is time to tell people, hey, the 1% was the standard. And I think moving it to 2%, it's a doubling. But it's not a big change. For the average person who has $100,000 invested, moving from 1% to 2% is just an extra $1,000 of that asset class. So if you look at this chart real quickly, if you had $1 million in net worth A 1% allocation means you had $10,000 worth of like Bitcoin. So by moving it to 2%, a typical millionaire will only have $20,000 in Bitcoin or Ether. So think about somebody with a $10 million portfolio. He may only have exposure to 1% is $100,000 or 2% is $200,000. So one of the things that I want to do is I think the world is going to move into this higher allocation of having more assets in your Bitcoin and Ether. So that's what I want to do. Any case, I just want to go back to this. Don't forget, guys, if you haven't hit the 1% mark, that's the first thing you need to do. But I think everybody should be at the 2% mark based on your portfolio. With that being said, don't forget, give me a thumbs up, like, comment below. Let me know what you think. Do you think Bitcoin is still the biggest asset class, a bubble or useless asset, or you think it's the best investment in your life? Comment below. Let me know what you think. Don't forget, let's do this together. Let's do this $1 at a time. Have a profitable day. Bye-bye.